Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fanfiction it inspires. I'm Kasey.
I'm Sandra, and today we're chatting with a new fanfic author. Kay, known as EldritchLibertine on AO3 and Tumblr, has watched Supernatural for years but has only recently taken the plunge into SPN fandom. I came across Kay's original female character story, Celestial Requiem, which pairs the heroine, Reed, with Castiel. Kay tackled the considerable undertaking of weaving her OFC throughout seasons of the show. Her focus on the theme of family don't end with blood and spotlighting Bobby as my favorite surrogate dad had me hooked from the start. We're looking forward to a chat about all things supernatural and writing. So, huge thanks for joining us and welcome to the podcast, Kay.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You've struggled to get here, but you've made it with all the stuff that's going on today. So thank you. Thank you for making, in case anyone needs to know, there's a power outage. So we're hoping we can get through this over on Kay's end.
Hoping my laptop doesn't die. I think it'll be fine. It's fully charged.
Okay, good. You were prepared.
Yeah.
So I know that we've had a lot of sort of like old guard people that have been in the fandom for quite a while. And for everyone to be more aware of the situation as to how I came across Kay's story, Kay's in our Discord server for idling. And we have a couple of channels where we have like, I wrote a thing and they wrote a thing. And I believe, Kay, you posted Celestial Requiem in, I think in I wrote a thing. And am I right about that or am I mixing stuff up?
So actually what happened was I posted the other story that I was writing. Which is
What Darkness Takes or something?
What Darkness Takes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went to my profile and you actually commented and you were like, I went to go read this, but then I saw the other one and I read that one instead. And I was like, I would prefer that actually because What Darkness Takes is strange.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I love strange.
As an OFC like writer, reader, and just seeing that just kind of like it just immediately got my attention. I started reading it and I was like, oh my gosh, Bobby is in this. And oh my gosh, they're starting from the very first season. And like, oh my goodness, what's going on? So I was just like, I wanted to just chat with you because then you did say like you're very new to the fandom and different things like that. So I figured we'd ask some of their questions and just get to know you a little bit more because you're a bit like me, or a little on the quieter side, I feel like in the server. So I wanted to kind of, reach out to you and you were like, yes, I'd love to come on. I'm excited. And so we're doing the thing. We're doing the thing today. I think I wanted to start with all the way back, Kay, as to when exactly did you get into Supernatural?
So I first started watching Supernatural when I was like really young, probably when it was first airing in like 2008, 2009. I watched it like a little bit on and off, but I watched like reruns when it was airing here in South Africa. And then I sort of watched like a season or two, and then I would start from the beginning again and like watched it all through. I only finished Supernatural for the first time ever in October of last year. And that's the first time I ever got past season 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh.
because I really enjoyed it, but it was kind of like, wow, this is a lot. This is a lot of show to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, and then I just decided to rewatch it with my husband because he also hadn't seen it. And we just finished in October, and I was like, I need to get into fandom. And then Tumblr. And then developed a hyperfixation.
So you didn't,
as one does.
you waited until you finished the show before you dived into fandom? Like you were all done with it before you
so we watched the show. It took us, it's going to sound really bad, it took us like 2 months to watch the whole show.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
We both work from home, me and my husband. So like during the day, we'd just be like, do you want to take a break from work and go watch Supernatural? we just end up on the couch and I'd like have my laptop and I'd be quote unquote working while watching Supernatural. So we shotgunned the show, really.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did, like, I don't know why, because I'd seen the show the first couple of seasons. I'd seen them so many times. Then I got to season 4 and I was like, oh no, I'm like in love with Castiel. Help me. And it was after that, and like sort of towards the end, that I was like, I need to get back on Tumblr and dive into like see how many other people are obsessed with Castiel the way I am.
And you found a lot.
Yeah.
They're out there, friends. They're out there.
Oh, I find it interesting too that a lot of people, because it's like an endurance test, I feel like, with the show, because there's so much show and plot and changes throughout the show too that occur, that it's almost like, can you get through it? We've noticed like a couple different people that we talk to, like some people stop and start at different points of the show as well. So when you said like shotgunned it, you were just like, and I've heard a lot of people who work from home or who have the luxury of being able to watch Supernatural while they're working. So yay for you to be able to shotgun it in like 2 months time. How did your husband enjoy? I'm assuming didn't get the same hyperfixation or
Yeah, no.
or did,
He enjoys it, just not the same
not
way
the
that
same way.
Unfortunately, he's stuck with me. So sometimes he'll just get pinned down and then he'll have to listen to me like rant for 3 hours.
Oh
And
yeah,
then he
that's
just-
standard. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just looks at me with a sort of blank expression and he's like,
Like, okay, that's great.
yeah, so actually I've got a post on my Tumblr, which still to this day is like still getting interactions about when we were watching the finale. He was developing a migraine and I paused the finale midway through. Well, not the finale, I think it was episode 18. And he was developing a migraine and I was just pausing the whole time to just rant at him. And he was just looking at me weirdly. He was like, I just want to finish. And I just kept pausing because I was like, no, we can't. I have to talk to you about this.
Yeah, if it was 18 as a Caps fan, you must have had a lot of fucking feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't talk about the last couple of episodes. We just pretend that they didn't happen. Because like one of my other favorite characters is Jack, and I just feel like the way that they ended Jack's story, I'm just like, no, stop it.
Yeah.
My poor husband, we watched season 15 together, like as it aired, so like the day after when I could get it on the CW website, and he had to put up with me like just sobbing for like well over 2 hours, just going, it wasn't supposed to be this way. And he was like, oh, so that was emotional. That was a good end to the show. And I was like, and he just didn't get it, bless him. He was like, yeah, it was an emotional end, but they all reunited and it was all fun. And I was like, you don't.
It's hard. It's hard.
My husband was just like, well, that was bullshit. That was a stupid ending. It ended like that. He didn't get emotional. He just got angry. He was like, no.
Yeah.
Oh, I love my husband dearly, but he doesn't. I'm utterly convinced that he doesn't consume media to enjoy media. He consumes it to be done with it. That's the only, because he just like the best reaction you can get from him is, yeah, it was all right, but that's it. He has no further emotions to that. He doesn't get angry or upset or anything. Like, that man's watched movies with me that I've been in bits about. Not a fucking tear. Not even a twinkle in his eye. Not even a glimmer of tears. And I'm like, you're not. Like, why?
That's generally how mine is as well. Like, his only two reactions are, yeah, it was okay, or like anger.
I take the anger.
Yeah, he just goes, that's stupid. That's a dumb way to do it. They should have done it like this instead. And I'm like, okay, they didn't. They did it like this. Can we have a reaction to how it actually was?
Yeah. I agree with you. It should have been a different way, but this is the universe we're living in. Can we react to what this is? Yeah, no, I get that.
Now, is Supernatural the kind of show you guys would typically watch together, or like is it sort of like in the vein or genre that you gravitate towards?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of watch a lot of things. I'm trying to think. Like, we got really into Peaky Blinders, and oh Lord, now I have to remember things. I don't know.
ADHD brain's going, I've never enjoyed a thing.
Well, I don't know if you've watched like because a lot of people like maybe like who are Buffy fans tended to like find supernatural. So I don't know if you ever watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer or like anything along those lines.
I
Charmed.
forced him to sit through like all of Buffy.
Okay.
When we just met, we've known each like we've been together for 10 years this year.
Okay.
So
Congratulations. Happy
thank
anniversary.
you. So I forced him to sit through all of Buffy and all of Angel, and I was like, I don't care if you don't like this, you're gonna watch all of it. But he did enjoy it. We also watched like The Boys and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Mhm.
What's his favorite out of the stuff that you force him to watch?
I don't actually know. He doesn't.
Again, if you're only getting those two, you can't really gauge like what's a favorite. Gotcha.
I'm also kind of like, I don't care because you just have to sit and watch it with me anyway.
That's a good husband, though. That's a good husband.
That's the best kind of husbanding, where they just sit there and go,
like, okay, all right, we'll do this. Yeah, I have one like that too.
Me and my husband just started watching Dexter last night. I've seen Dexter all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Only the original series. I haven't watched the stupid fucking season 9 that they made, and I haven't watched the prequel that they're making. Just the original series. So we watched the first 2 episodes, which arguably are fucking great, by the way. Like, what an intro into a show. And I looked at him after we'd finished them, and I was like, "So what do you think?" And he went, "That's all right." And that was it. That's all right.
I've never seen Dexter.
Watch
you
it.
might like it if you watch The
you'll like
Boys
it.
and that kind of stuff. I think you'll like it. It's a lot of character stuff in that.
Stop watching it after season 4. Don't worry about the cliffhangers
it gets a little
and the plot threads.
iffy.
Just invent your own ending, because I guarantee it will be better than the actual ending of the show. Just quit after season 4 and be like, that was a nice show. I'm glad they ended it now. And invent your own ending. Decide what you think happens.
Yeah, that's sort of what I wish I'd done with Supernatural.
Have you done that with any? Have you done that with any other show? Because we were actually just talking about this before he came on. Like, if there's like a point in any other show where you're just like, you know what, I don't think I want to see how this turns out. I think I'm good with wherever it's at.
No, because I have that thing where I have to know what happens, even if I hate it. Even if I know it's going to be awful, like even if I know, I'll spoil it for myself, and then I'll just be like, okay, well, I guess I just have to sit through it, because I knew what happened in the Supernatural finale, and I was really considering. I was like, should I watch this? I know it's going to suck, and I was like, oh, I just have to, just for the experience, just so that I can say that I've seen it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you gotta grit your teeth and go,
well, I've done it, now it's done.
Yeah, literally,
Check
that's
it.
how it felt.
Check it off. Yeah, check it off. I've done the thing. Okay.
Yeah, I'm convinced that my husband just does some kind of mental list of every TV show ever made, ever, and he's just going through his list, and he's like, and I've watched that, and I've watched that, and I've watched. He watched Grey's Anatomy, all of it, like he binged it. He binged it, man. And I'm like, if he'd started watching Grey's Anatomy a million years ago and he watched every episode like every week or whatever, that would be one thing. But no, he started it in 24 and he's like, no, I think I'll watch Grey's Anatomy, and then finished it.
That's insane, though. That's so many seasons of show, and it's so traumatic. I've watched, I want to say most of it, but that feels like a lie. I think I've watched up to like season 11, and then I was just like, I can't do this anymore. It's
Yep. No, he just I don't know. He doesn't engage with media. He just consumes it, and then he's done with it, and there's no lasting effects. He's not out there crying over Meredith Grey or what. Like, I don't watch it. It was on when I was on lunch and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, men are just built different, though, I think.
Yeah, we have very different definitions on what binge a show means. For me, that's like, I can watch like 3 episodes in a row, and I fully admit I don't binge. But I can watch like 3 episodes in a row, and then I'm like, I'm mentally exhausted now. He's like, a full season, and then start the next season, banging, let's go. It's not normal.
Yeah, so we, like, at least, like, 3 weekends, spent Friday nights, the whole of Saturday, and the whole of Sunday, like, up until, like, 2 o'clock in the morning, watching Supernatural. There was no breaks. There was just, we started on Friday evening, watched until, like, 3 in the morning, woke up, started again, and did that until Sunday evening.
Wow.
Don't you need like I know the answer to this question. Do you not need like a sanity break after each season?
No.
I'm the weird one, guys. It's me. It's me.
Keep going. Just, I was like, I needed more. I needed more. Like, as it was happening, I was like, yes, next one, more Castiel, please.
No,
Or, like, at some point, more Lucifer.
I'm in the minority here, but it doesn't matter when I finish a season. It'll be 9 o'clock in the morning. I can't watch another season until I've had a full sleep reset. I've tried before, and I get about halfway through the first episode, and my brain's like, "We're taking exactly none of this in. Stop it."
Even if I watch the end of a season at 4 a.m, I have to watch the first couple of episodes of the next season.
So the cliffhanger, you can't do the cliffhanger thing.
Yeah, no, my brain goes insane. Like, I'll never be able to sleep. I have to know what's happening.
I must know. I need this knowledge.
Is that one of the reasons too why you think maybe you kind of stopped and started? Because were you kind of like at a point where you couldn't sort of like binge to keep up, or how did?
I don't remember why. I remember after season 10, like why I never got past season 10, because I didn't enjoy season 10.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the quality of the show during season 10 like really dropped off. Also season 8, like what they did to Sam's character in season 8, that pissed me off royally. So there was like always something in a season, like I'd finish watching and I'd be like, oh, so fucking stupid. So I just couldn't watch it anymore because I was just angry at the show in general for like something that they did. And then I was like, I'm not going to watch it anymore. It's stupid. And then 6 months later, I'd start the whole rigmarole.
You just give yourself more torture again. Like, well, I guess I'm going to do it again. I guess I'm going to give it another try. Yeah,
you have to know what happens. Maybe it's redeemed.
But also, like, the vibes in season 1 and 2 of Supernatural are so immaculate. Like, I've watched season 1 and 2 probably like 25 times because this is just great.
Yeah.
There's something very, I mean, other people have said too, like, it's just very cinematic too. Like, just even visually, it just has this different feel to it anyway. And it's just, it's got a, yeah. So what would be like so was season 10 one of like what's your least favorite season?
Season 8. Because I cannot, like, it's really dumb. I just can't deal with the character assassination of Sam. Sam's not my favorite character, but like what they did to his character in season 8, I was like, that's unacceptable. He would never have done this. Wrong. Incorrect. So probably season 8.
Okay.
Valid.
And
Valid.
then favorite season?
I want to say season, that's a tough one. Season 4 because of Cass. But also I think season 11 or season 12, like one of the seasons with Lucifer.
Okay.
I love Lucifer as a character. So yeah, one of the seasons with Lucifer.
I never would have guessed by your story that you're into like the angel thing. I mean, I never would have gotten that. Never would have gotten that at all.
Do you have a favorite Lucifer vessel, or are you like straight Nick Lucifer?
Nick, I'm sorry, Nick all the way. In season 11 or 12, like when he like Crowley puts him back in Nick, I'm just like, you're so hot. I want to climb you like a tree.
That's valid. That is valid. Yeah. I like obviously I'm a Sam model through and through, so I hold a lot of affection for Samifer, but I think Cassifer is just fucking.
He's so funny.
Misha did such a good job with that. You know, whatever I might think of Misha, he fucking nailed that so hard.
Did you like that, Kay? Did you like Misha doing the whole Cassifer thing?
I really did. My obsession with Lucifer started with Cassifer, right?
Okay.
I was really into Castiel, and then I wrote a story about Cassifer, and while I was writing Cassifer, I got like really into Lucifer as a character, and then somehow that just morphed into preferring like the Nick version.
Gotcha.
He's so hot.
Is it because he's like shackled in that? Is it the season when he's like shackled like by Crowley? I mean, I might be getting a little too intimate and asking, but like, is the shackle part and his just like snarkiness in that just because he's very snarky in that season? Like, the snark is up.
He is so snarky. I don't know. I also like him when he's in Apocalypse World, like when he starts getting his power back.
Okay.
there's just something about him. Like he's such an egotistical, sadistic asshole, but he's also so deeply emotionally wounded. And I'm just like, I love you. You're so dumb.
Can we title this episode?
I love you. You're
himbo,
so dumb.
please?
I love you. You're so dumb. Lucifer is a himbo.
Yeah,
It's true though. Like he's really such an idiot.
Oh God.
Mark Pellegrino in like one of his panels said that when season 5, when they showed Lucifer, you knew that he was the strongest, smartest guy in the room. And then in season 11, you were no longer sure if he was. I was like, yes, but
Very
he
true.
still thinks he is.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack character-wise on Supernatural with a lot of these guys. I love you. You're so dumb. I might actually use that as like the title. That or Lucifer is a himbo. I mean, Kasey, do we want to ask the question we usually ask all of our guests?
No, we absolutely can do. And honestly, I don't know which ways it's gonna go. So if you can, between Sam and Dean, and if you can, or you're a Bibro or whatever, that's totally cool as well. But if you can, between Sam and Dean, could you pick a favorite to be your blorbo? Like, do you have a favorite between the brothers?
Dean.
Bitch.
I don't know.
I'm going to start putting marks for Bibros in both columns. That'll even it out a little bit. And then people come on and they're like, I prefer Cass and Lucifer, but also it's still Dean.
But like, weirdly, so I've been watching Supernatural forever and I've always been a Dean girl. There's just, as I get older, right, I'm like, I'm starting to lean more towards Sam. It's still Dean, but now I'm starting to appreciate Sam more.
It does change for some people. Yeah.
You're the second person in the last month that said that to me, and I'm honing in on what it is, and it's because as a fandom, as we get older, we've realized we would not put up with Dean's shit.
I would.
You would not put up with. All right, you would, but those of us, like, I mean, like Sam.
Say it with affection, Kasey. Say it with affection.
Yeah, you would, but like the rest of us would just be like, no, put your fucking shoes away. Like, eat green things. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Sam is so adorable as well. Like, Dean's hot, but like Sam, there's just something about him. Like, as I get older, I'm like, I appreciate you more and more.
Well, I think it says something too about the fact that you said that even if Sam wasn't your favorite character, that you still were like, he would not do that in season 8, that you were very offended by the storyline and stuff. So I think that says something too about, your appreciation of the character as a whole.
When you say Sam wouldn't do that, was it that Sam wouldn't have just abandoned the search for Dean and tried to settle down, or that he wouldn't have stood there and let Dean parade Benny in front of him, or that he wouldn't have undertaken the trial? Like, what can you get specific for me? I have questions.
So I, number one, don't think that he would have abandoned Dean. Like, I can't believe that. And also when I'm going to perjure myself here, but there was something else that he did in season 8, which I can now no longer remember, and it was what pissed me off. The whole, like, the way he reacted to Benny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that was accurate to his character, and the way that he was just so, like, uncaring of Dean's feelings, and he was just, like, so, in South Africa we say kortaf, like he was short. And I don't think that that's accurate to Sam's character. I think that they tried to make him, like, they had to figure out a way to make the story work, and the way that they did it was by going, well, we'll just turn Sam into an asshole. And I just don't think it was true. Like, don't think anything that he did in that season was accurate to his character.
Oh, that's so interesting. That's so interesting. Because that's really interesting, actually, because I go the other way with season 8, and I am like furious, like righteously furious, standing over Sam's poor beaten body in that church with a fucking like broadsword, like, come and get it, about how Dean treats Sam in season 8. That's so fucking interesting.
But Dean is kind of always an asshole. He's too attached to Sam
Mm.
in like an unhealthy way. And I think that makes him react to Sam in all sorts of weird ways. Whereas Sam's got like a more healthy attachment, but also not healthy.
Yeah, neither one of them are
Yeah,
totally
there's just a little more green things in Sam's attachment than in Dean's.
Yeah, but so like Dean, I can imagine him reacting all sorts of ways because he's like a little bit nuts.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Sam is far more like logical and he does things properly. So I can imagine Dean going off the rails. Sam, not so much.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Oh, I'm gonna have to ponder this now. I'm gonna have to sit and think about it.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
We know Cass is your favorite. What other favorite characters do you have on the show?
Lucifer.
Okay.
Lucifer. Yep.
Yeah, like it at the moment it's hardcore Lucifer. Like I'm just
Is
obsessed.
Gabriel though? Because I mean, with Celestial Requiem, I got big Gabriel vibes too.
Everyone loves
yeah.
Gabriel. He's a baby man.
I am kind of just mildly in love with Gabriel. We were actually chatting about it the other day. He's only in 12 episodes, and I'm like, that seems wrong.
Really?
Yeah, he's only in 12 episodes, and I'm like, it feels like he was in at least 50 because he's just got such a big personality, and I'm obsessed with him, honestly.
Mhm.
Maybe I just have a thing for like the archangels, except for
I was
Raphael.
gonna say, yeah. Well, yeah, there's not enough of even Raphael to like really like. He was another one, just like he was there and then he was gone, you know, like a couple times and that was it. So, yeah. No, interesting because I mean, I definitely got that, like, you know, that you're very much into the whole angel aspect of it from Celestial Requiem, which I know we'll get into a little bit more. But yeah, I was just curious. So, we've got Cass, got Gabe, Cass, Lucifer, Gabe, Michael at all, or is he just an asshole?
Yeah, he's kind of just an asshole. Like in my story, he's not, because I was like, I have to change him.
Okay.
But also kind of.
Mm-hmm. Well, he kind of has to be. I mean, you're kind of saying it's funny because the way they, you know, parallel sort of Dean and Sam. I mean, if Dean's a little bit of an asshole, then Michael's got to be, you know, kind of an asshole too. Like, I think as long as like in terms of like character situation, if we're kind of like going that way too,
Yeah.
I feel.
I don't know. I just feel like there wasn't enough Michael, weirdly, for me to ever be like, oh, I like him. I liked him and Adam towards the end. I was like, you guys make a cute couple, weirdly. But yeah, I'm just
there's nothing. They're totally healthy.
Yeah, that's if Sam and Dean's relationship is unhealthy, I don't want to know what you would call Adam and Michael's.
Oh God, that's so funny.
You know, it's funny. This is absolutely in keeping with poor Adam. I legitimately forgot that was where our universe's Adam was. Our universe's Michael was. I was thinking about Apocalypse with Michael and Dean, and then I was like, "Oh no, wait, shit, we have our own."
Yeah,
over there in the corner,
stuff going on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, poor Adam. It's just always forgotten.
Poor Adam. You leave a guy in the cage for a decade, and he never lets you forget it.
Being that you're sort of relatively new to fandom, we're talking about maybe like a year and a half or so, like maybe since you got into it. Give us your thoughts about the fandom community and stuff like that.
So I have really, I would say, been in the fandom since, this is going to sound stupid, since like maybe September of last year.
Okay. Oh, this is stupid.
It's really friendly. Everyone's so nice. I really searched really hard for Discords because Tumblr's nice and it's like really active and people are quite chatty. But I really wanted like a Discord where I could talk to people because I'm, I work from home, and I found a couple and everybody's so friendly. Everybody's so welcoming.
Nice.
And they're still like, I kind of assumed that Supernatural, especially in sort of the niche that I write, which is original characters, like there wouldn't be much interaction because most of the action happens in sort of like Destiel. So I thought there wouldn't be much interaction, but weirdly there was quite a lot. And I was like, this fandom is weirdly active for a really old show.
Yeah, they definitely still are active. I would say Kasey and I kind of got in on the towards the end of like, like I guess right before it really got big. Well, sort of like the waning part, like it was right before season. I know I got into it around season 14. I think was just getting started, and I binged.
Yeah, about 2019.
Yeah. So we kind of like feel like we missed out on a lot of like the very active part of fandom. We feel like we kind of just missed out on, but it is nice to see that there's still pockets of the fandom that still gloms together and is still very supportive, and especially with the original character part, because what I feel from writing original character stuff is that when you get people that find it, they absolutely love it, but it's definitely not like in terms of like on our end too, like Kasey's written reader insert and then Wincest, and I like do like reader insert original character, and then I've done a couple Wincest, but like there's just stuff that just gets like immediate people just eyes on it because they're more popular. And then you really have to find that niche or those people that are craving the original character stuff. And like I said, when I saw that, I was like, original character, yes, please. I want to read this and see what this is about. So yeah, I think that's great. So you're on a couple different Discords. You found your peeps.
Yeah, and I actually started on Tumblr. I started a Castiel fan club.
Aw, okay. Cute.
Yeah. Which got wildly popular. I was like, I didn't realize this man had so many fans.
you are new to the fandom.
First time I watched Supernatural, the first like 8 times I watched it, I kind of was like, oh, Castiel, he's nice. But I was like Dean all the way. And then something just happened in my brain this last time that I watched it, and I was like rabid over Castiel. And I was like, I can't understand what's happened to me that all of a sudden I'm so obsessed with this man. And then I went to Tumblr and I was like, why is there no fan club for my precious baby? And so I was like, I'm going to start one. And I did. And then also started a Discord because I was like, join me, Castiel people. And it's literally just gifs of Misha all day, every day.
Yeah, and that's what's great about those places too. When you can't find them, you make them, right? Like you make them, and then people will find it, and that's I think the great way.
Build it, and they will come.
Yeah. So what was it? What was it recently about you rewatching? Like, what do you think it was about Cass on this latest rewatch? You still not sure?
Genuinely have no idea. Still something, and I don't know what it is with Lucifer either. It was just like something crawled into my brain and just stuck its fingers in there and went and like wiggled them about. I still don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Because the first million times that I watched the show, I was kind of like, Castiel's weird and he's kind of like off-putting to look at. And then I looked at him and I was like, oh wait, I'm actually in love with you. And the same with Lucifer. I was like, I hate him. He's the villain. He's awful. And then I watched it this time and I was like, precious baby, protect you. And I don't know where the switch happened.
I love that Supernatural does this to people. You can like watch it again and again. And sometimes just something else switches off or switches on in people's brains. And they'll like start to like hyperfixate, like on another aspect of the show. I think that's glorious. I think that's great. That's so funny. Like, I don't know what it is, but there you are. I guess I have to give you all my attention.
Now you live rent-free in my head, and I must.
Oh, gosh.
I love it, though.
Good.
I love that you can watch Supernatural like a million times and never get bored of it, because you'll always see something else and go, oh, there's a new aspect of this stupid, awful hell show that I haven't focused on enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular, like, just like even just like in a certain episode in particular recently that you would watch so you were like, I never noticed that before. That's really interesting. Or anything like that? It's okay if you haven't.
Yeah, I come back to Lucifer. I never noticed before, like, there's this one episode where Crowley's got him like in chains and Drexel is busy inspecting him, right? He's got his shirt off and Mark Pellegrino gets like leans into this dude's face and whispers, like, I'm really, really proud of you. But it's like the sexual tension.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think I just watched that season. I was like, there's a lot going on here.
I'm completely lost. I don't know. I don't know what we're referencing here anymore, guys.
That episode, that stuck in my brain because I still went on Discord and I like sent a message to my friend and I was like, Lucifer is melting my brain at the moment because how have I watched this like so many times? I've never noticed just how like what happens in that episode. I was like, damn.
Yeah, it's definitely there's a lot of innuendo and like subtext going on with those two. Yeah.
I'll fess up something that I know. I can't remember what it is now. Oh, it's after Dean tells Sam that it's early on in the show. It's after Dean tells Sam that John said that he's gonna have to kill him or something. But it's right at the end, and it's just a quick flick to Sam, and his eyes go yellow, and it's just for a second. I've watched seasons 1 to 6 4 or 5 times. Never fucking seen it before, and I was like, oh my god, Sam's eyes flashed at the end of that episode, and Sandra was like, babe, really? I've never seen it before.
My husband was the same because if you are paying, like sometimes when my husband does, it's like he'll be on his phone or whatever. And so like if you just for a moment, which it only takes a moment. And I was just like, did you see that? He was like, what? I'm like, are you serious? I had to like rewind it. I'm like, watch. And he's like, oh, I'm like, yeah. So it's different things like that if you're not really like zoomed in or like paying full attention, you'll miss it. Like blinking, you miss it, kind of a situation.
Sometimes some of us have to be debuffed by hand to watch.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine.
And I'm not an accomplished enough knitter to knit by feel yet.
No.
I'll get there, but not just yet.
Yeah, no. You got to knit and watch, so we understand. We understand if that happens. I think we're gonna like switch from show to writing. So when did your love of writing start?
When I was, oh Lord, how old was I? 20. Was I 20? 19, 20. I got my first job as a writer. I used to work for Groupon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, awful. Terrible.
We'll cut that out.
Well, Groupon doesn't exist in South Africa anymore, so I feel like I'm allowed to say.
Okay. All right. Well, good then.
Yeah,
all right, we'll leave it in.
So I got my first job as a writer. I worked in the editorial department and I was writing every day and I got really into Twilight at the same time, which was and I was like, you know what? I'm going to write Twilight fan fiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I did that and I got really into writing fan fiction and then, yeah.
So was this another situation where like you were you able to watch Twilight like while you were working? Sorry, I just wanted to ask that question. Hold on.
No, you can ask that question first. I have a follow-up.
Okay.
No, so what happened with Twilight is I was one of those people who was like, I'm not going to watch this. I'm not going to read the books. It's awful. It's stupid. Stephanie Meyer sucks. My father was a Mormon, so I was like, I know exactly what type of person she's going to be. And then I was strong-armed into watching it by my group of friends. They were like, no, you're going to sit down. We did movie night every Sunday. So we'd arrive in my friend's house at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we'd watch 2 or 3 movies, and then we'd go home. And they were like, we're going to watch Twilight. We're going to watch 3 of the Twilight movies, and you're going to sit there and you're going to suck it up. And so I did, and I was like, oh no, I love this. And I got completely obsessed with it. And then I watched the rest of the movies, and then I borrowed my friend's book, and I was like, oh no, this is really good in a terrible way. And the rest is history, because then I just got deeply, deeply into Twilight fan fiction.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's valid. Okay, were you a Team Edward or a Team Jacob? Because I also have seen all of the Twilight movies, and I've read all the Twilight books, and I read that weird fucking Edward POV. I can't remember what it's bloody called.
Midnight Sun.
That was it. Yeah, I've read that. I read that as well. And then also, to my eternal shame, I've read all the 50 Shades of Grey books, and I read the weird Christian Grey POV thing that she called Grey. I haven't seen all the movies though, but I was also a Twilight fan for quite a number of years. So did you have a team?
I was Team Jasper.
That's cheating. No, it's not.
No, like Edward kind of sucked. I'm sorry. Like,
oh yeah, no, I was Team Jacob the whole goddamn way. Did you see the hair on Taylor Lautner?
yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
hell. Yeah, no,
Also
I was never Team Edward. He was a creep. No.
I love Jasper.
So wait, is
I don't know.
Jasper in Edward's family? I've only
He's
like I've
his-
read it, but
Brother-in-law.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he's his brother-in-law. I don't know.
Yeah, because there's Edward, there's Emmett, who is another like adoptive child of the Cullens. Alice, who's also another adoptive child of the Cullens. Jasper is Rosalie's husband.
okay.
So he's like in the family,
No.
but Rosalie is the
Alice-
adopted child.
It's Alice's husband. So
Oh, is it
Emmett,
Alice's?
yeah,
Yeah.
Emmett and Rosalie, Alice and Jasper, and then Edward and Bella.
Is Alice the pixie cut chick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pixie haircut? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jasper's the one, just because I've got my names mixed up now. Emmett's the one that's kind of like a linebacker, isn't he?
Yeah. The one
Jasper's
that looks like a bear.
Willowy one, to be nice about it. Just a little bit willowy.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was movie Jasper that sort of like wiggled his way into my brain. Book Jasper, nah.
Hmm.
But movie Jasper, Jackson Rathbone. Yes, please.
I'm seeing a theme here across your tendencies here. Cass, Lucifer, Jasper. You're just like your man, just a tiny bit fragile looking, but with the power to crush you. That's
I mean, do you know how tall Mark Pellegrino is?
not as tall
there's
as Jared.
nothing-
No, I don't know how tall he is actually. How tall is he?
So Mark Pellegrino is 6'3", and he used to be a boxer, and he trains jujitsu. So there is nothing fragile.
No, there isn't. Like Misha isn't fragile either. He's solid. But what I mean is like if you Jasper and Emmett was like a movie. Emmett was like a linebacker, like a bear. You know?
I think I like my love interest like a little bit damaged and possibly a little bit like twisted. You know what I mean?
I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be like, no, it's definitely the hint of fragility in the meat suit, and you're like, no, I just like really fucked up. That's what it is.
No, but that's true. That's true. I like my men damaged. Okay.
Goodness.
Yeah, no, I
You
could.
came
That
to
also
the right
that also
place for
tracks with
supernatural.
also tracks with you being like Dean as well. Also,
Yeah,
Dean also.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Plethora to choose from.
Cam is too healthy.
Sam has too many of his ducks in a row. They're not all in a row. Too many of them are in a row.
In comparison to everybody else, yes, he's definitely got more in
The hottest Sam has ever looked to me, and this just tells you like exactly what kind of person I am. The hottest that Sam has ever looked to me is in season 7 when he was in the mental hospital.
Yes. Fuck yes. That's one of
when
my
he was
favorite
like-
Sams.
Yeah, that's when he was at his most like good looking to me. I was like, yeah.
In the white hospital pajamas, and he's all tired and just
Like dark circles under his eyes, a little bit bloody. I was like, yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then also we got Lucifer in those same episodes, which that's the other love of my life.
Yeah. You got a lot. You got a lot in those scenes for you to work with. If we go into Celestial Requiem, what was it? What made you decide? I'm gonna weave this character into canon, like, because that's a big undertaking. Have you done stuff like that before with your Twilight fanfic, or?
No, I used to write Bella Jasper.
Okay.
I don't know what. I don't know what made me think that it was a good idea. It wasn't the original. Like the first story that I wanted to write was different. It was like a fan falls into supernatural thing, and I wanted to write that, and I started, and I was like, can't really get into it, and then I watched the last couple of seasons of Supernatural where they're like running out of angels, and it was like a bolt of lightning just like struck me in the brain, and I was like, I just started writing. I was like, the best way to do this, like the only way to do this is if I start right from the beginning. I can't start like midway. If I'm going to introduce a new character and somehow like make it Bobby's daughter, you know, and introduce her to Sam and Dean, like there has to be, I have to start from the beginning. I can't just start midway and just go, oh yeah, by the way, she's like Sam and Dean's kind of sister thing. It's weird. So I had to start in the beginning. Yeah. I never really thought it was like a weird thing to do or like particularly difficult.
I find it, because I've just done one recently where I was like, I was really adamant about if I was going to put a character into the canon of it, I was really trying not to change the canon up to a certain point. So I was really trying to find this because Kasey and I have an old friend like in the fandom, Dandelion Dreaming, wrote the Rookie series, and they did something with a reader insert character where you kind of put the character in like certain seasons. I think, Kasey, maybe like season 8 or 9 is when like the character gets introduced into the
it's after the bunker.
Yeah, and the way she did it was like she'd follow certain episodes but then find a way to like, you know, put the character in. It kind of like the character was there but you didn't see those scenes, kind of a situation.
Yeah.
And so I think that was something that for me, when I decided to do that, I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I kind of want to do it in that similar vein and not have the canon kind of change up, you know, much in terms of that. So I didn't know if you were, when you were writing that, you were kind of like, well, how can I put this character in, make it believable and not really do too much? Because I've read up to the point where the witness part of it in Celestial Requiem. So I'm like, I don't know how far ahead, how much is left that you've published of that, because I don't think you said you're not done with it yet.
No.
Okay. So that's like where I'm at, where like now you get even more of the backstory on Reed, you know, like how she, just like every other hunter, has the misfortune, the trauma of that kind of like gets them into hunting and into the supernatural side of the world to begin with. So I'm just like in that now. So I didn't know if you had that sort of like, oh, I really want to try to follow the canon of it, or let me see once I put this character in, how does it maybe change a little bit, but still stay on course.
So that's sort of where I'm having the most fun, is trying to figure out how to keep things happening. So in the first couple of chapters of my story, I was like, Reed cannot be involved with Sam and Dean. Like, she has to stay home. Like, I can't have her gallivanting off with the boys. Number one, because it wouldn't make sense. They've just like met again after 10 years.
Right.
But also, like, I couldn't have her interfere with the stuff that had to happen. And I knew that if my character was there, then it would change things in the canon.
Right.
So I just focused on, you know, like how she would have perceived the events of canon from the outside, and like interfered like a little bit because she has a relationship with Bella.
Right.
But without like actually being able to change anything or really affect anything. The changes only sort of happen after Cass becomes involved, and of course Gabriel, which sort of changes, but not really.
So for Kasey, who's like unfamiliar with the story, could you give a little bit of a backstory without like, you know, giving too much away about how the story opens up and whatever you think you can for anybody else who's going to be interested in deep diving into the story?
Oh no, I don't like having to try and nutshell things. So
you don't have to nutshell it, just however you think you can best.
I'm
summarize it.
not like I will go and read it, but I'm not like, don't worry about spoilers or anything like that.
It's so long. Like I'm only in season 4 and it's like 80,000 words already. I'm like,
oh good lord.
Yeah. And I've got plans up till season 10. And it's already 80,000 words and I'm on episode 3.
Okay, this is why I called it an undertaking. It is an undertaking. It is.
But it is. So basically, the original character is Reed, and her whole family was killed by demons when she was 6, but she was left alive, and Bobby takes her in and tries to
Bobby
find her.
is so great in this. I love Bobby in this. I love Bobby.
Thank you. I also love it. So Bobby takes her in, and he tries to find her family, but he can't. Like her family has just sort of disappeared off the face of the world. So he ends up raising her, sort of like as his surrogate daughter. And they, in the episode 20 of season 1, they reconnect with Sam and Dean, and events sort of follow canon. But then she meets Gabriel and then realizes there's something weird going on, because she can see sort of his wings and she can see his true form. Yeah. And then I don't really know what else to say apart from that. It's just...
Well, I
sounds
was
awesome.
I was finding a lot of great stuff in it about you mentioned the Bella part of it, and I kind of, there's tension between the boys and Reed over like the relationship that she has with Bella, like towards season 3 too, where like, it's kind of like well, I need you, you need me kind of a thing. But there's also, you give a little bit of more of a backstory. You feel the vulnerability, I think, in Bella through Reed. You know what I mean? So there's like little bits and pieces in there that I like that you kind of try to explore the characters in a different way, show a different side of them, but that also that the boys are just like Dean especially, like, what do you mean? Like, like that kind of stuff, like, just not his very stubborn aspect to his personality, but then he's also very caring, and Sam is very like they both want to care for Reed, but also like they're going through their own shit. I especially really liked the that Reed at the start of season 4, when Dean comes back and they meet Sam, and she immediately knows there's something wrong, but just like the rest of the Winchesters, even though she's a Winchester, not by blood, but by kind of example, and then models, keeps secrets, because she sees there's something going on with Sam. She doesn't know exactly what it is. She doesn't say anything. She keeps quiet about it. So I think that there's a lot of things about the way you put this character in that I really appreciate, because there's all this struggle, right? Never knowing never knowing whether or not you're doing the right thing, but you're doing something that you think is protecting others, which I think is very the sacrificial part of, I think, our boys and the Winchesters in general, and then what I think they imbue with other people that become their family. It's not the best decision making, but it's for reasons that they feel are right and will be protective. I really did love the and there's a struggle. She's very like, she doesn't know what's going on with her,
No.
with Gabriel, and she feels safe with him, but then feels not threatened, but kind of like, you did all this stuff to people that I cared about, and or you chose to look away, like, you chose not to do anything. So that distrust then of that. See, I think Kasey would really adore just for the Gabriel part of it too, because it's very interesting.
Gabriel.
That part of it's really
interesting character.
Yeah, and it's just to see, because again, like, I'm really curious to find out. You figure out what it is about Reed, and then there's another tension. There's almost like this romantic triangle tension, I feel, that's going to come about as well, is what because where I'm at, like I said, is with the season 4, like right after the rise of the witness seal. And so she's like, she's trying to figure out what the heck's going on with Cass too, and all this other stuff. So it's quite a ride. I mean, you definitely go into a lot of the characters and why they're kind of doing what they do. This leads to my next question, which is, how do you not fall into sort of like the Mary Sue trap of it, where like, your character's just perfect, because you don't do that with Reed. And I didn't know if there was like, something you were trying to make sure you did with her.
Because I've been sort of writing and reading fanfic for like most of my life since I was like 12, I think was when I started reading fanfic for the first time. Like Mary Sueism is something that I'm intimately familiar with, and I was very careful like when I was writing, when I was trying to decide who she was going to be, especially because of what she is and who she is, and because I was introducing her as like a sister figure. I was really conscious of not making her a Mary Sue, and not making her, I don't know, super badass and perfect, all of that. I was really conscious of that and trying to think, how would a real person, really, how would I react in this situation if I was put in this situation? How would I react?
Yeah.
And except making her probably a little bit more understanding than me.
Because you wouldn't be having any of it, basically.
Oh no, I would be slapping people upside the head. So I was like, if we take her and make her sort of more understanding, more compassionate, but also still be a regular person who
and
wouldn't
make mistakes, which is what I really like about it too. Like she makes mistakes.
Make mistakes and keep secrets, just like the rest of the super group of them. Yeah. Also, like trying to build the relationship between her and the boys was also really interesting to me, because I didn't want it to be sort of like, I'm letting my mouth get ahead of me. So
That's okay.
if you read Bobby's Guide to Hunting, right, you learn that he lost contact with the boys when Dean was 12. Reed is 3 years older than Dean, so she would have been 15, Dean would have been 12. And they only knew each other when they were kids for like a little while. So I was like, I need to try and build this relationship between them, between Reed and the boys, and have it be like, oh, well, we knew each other when we were kids and we spent quite a bit of time together, but obviously it's been now 10 years since we've seen each other. And that's also been really interesting, is trying to build a relationship that seems organic, and they're not like, and that's also why I didn't want her traveling with them, because I didn't think that is something that would have made sense. Like, oh, well, we just met you again for the first time in 10 years. Why don't you hop in the car with us? That didn't seem like something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense a lot. I think we kind of worked on something similar with that with Dandelion Dreaming. I'm thinking of like the trilogy thing we did, Kasey, where it was kind of like a reader insert character that like knew the boys when they were younger, and then like lost touch and then gets back into it with them, and how you have that muscle memory, right, of like your relationship with somebody as a child. Sometimes those are the best kind, because you can just kind of like fall back into it and not have a ton of baggage of like what's happened in between, so you just kind of pick up where you left off situation and still hold on to that, almost like that innocence of a relationship that doesn't have to have all of that time that's messed stuff up, but then they can kind of like make up for it in a really short amount of time and screw things up as well once they get back into it and get back together with each other. No, I really did. I think I was just intrigued too, because like me, I'm Dean OFC all the way. So when I was like a Cass OFC, I mean, I don't think I've seen, of course, I don't necessarily think I've been looking for it. Have you seen a lot of Dean, a lot of Cass original character fics out there that you particularly liked?
There is one that is the absolute love of my life, and it is called Song Remains the Same, and it is by River Winters. It is 2 million words long.
Did you read it? Did you read it all?
Yes, of course I did.
Oh, I was just asking, because I don't know if you're like in the middle of it or whatever, but like the whole thing. Okay.
I read the entire thing. I was obsessed. I was like, this is actually one of the greatest things I've ever read in my life. 2 million words. It took me about a week and a half.
All right. Do you want to save some brain space for the rest of it, Kay, please? Come on now.
I'm one of those people, like I read 350 pages in like about 4 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm such a slow reader.
So I started reading, like I was reading books on my own. Like I read my first Roald Dahl book when I was 5. So I'm like a
Wow.
voracious reader.
So do you, is
Um,
it just, I mean, is it just a skill you just like, you just have honed over the years? And like, how much do you retain when you read that quickly? So that's what my brain doesn't want to let me read that quick. I don't know what it is. How much are you ingesting all of this? And do you get, I'm throwing so many questions at you. I apologize. Do you, are you someone that, cause we've heard too, some people read, but they don't kind of get the imagery in their head. Like, are you very much like an image person when you read?
No, I have full blown aphantasia, so I can't picture things. My brain is a black hole.
Oh,
I imagine that's probably quite helpful in terms of reading speed.
Yeah, it is, because I can't picture anything and I can't hear anything. I don't have like an inner voice, and I don't have pictures in my head.
okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't get you off track, I guess, is kind of a thing too. Because I know with me that I'm taking time to like build the stuff, right? Like in my head as I'm reading. I think that's what it is too.
Yeah, no, I don't have that. I just know, I feel things, I know things.
Gotcha.
And I've got the neurospicy, so I think that's why I'm such a voracious reader. I'm just
I was talking to Sandra about this a few weeks ago now, because I think she was once again being like, how do you read this quickly? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I don't read the whole word. I read like the first few letters, and then I assume the rest of the word. And 90% of the time I'm right. And sometimes I'm not, and I have to go back and read it, and I'm like, oh, that didn't say that. But it's not quite skim reading, but you're not sort of reading every letter, as it were. You're just kind of filling in the blanks.
Yeah, when I was younger, my dad also taught me how to speed read.
Gotcha.
So he taught me that, like, as you're reading, your eye is already moving down to the next line. So while you're reading the one line, your eye is already moving. So he taught me how to speed read. And like when I was in school, we did a lot of speed reading comprehension. So basically training your brain to how to speed read and to still absorb. So this was when I was like 12 or 13. We did a lot of speed reading comprehension. It's
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I also have the neurospicy, and I also just read voraciously as a child as a form of escapism. So I think I probably taught myself those skills. But yeah, that's why, like I said to you at the time, Sandra, that's why authors like Tolkien and King get me so messed up, because they're so descriptive that my brain like kind of trips up over itself.
Gotcha.
Because it's like, okay, I understand it's a door, and then Tolkien's like 8 paragraphs in describing this fucking door, and my brain's going, it's a door made of rock. It's got cute little glowy lines in it. It's nice. We understand this. Move on.
Yeah.
You know?
Gotcha.
And that's why I just
No, I get it. I'm starting. I think I'm starting to get more of it. Get more of it now. Yeah. So, song remains the same. 2 million words. What was it about that story?
So a song remains the same. The original character is actually their sister.
Okay.
So her name is Alex Winchester, and she's actually their sister, but when the story starts, you learn that she was mute when she was younger, and she's just got her voice back.
Okay.
And it starts in season just before Dean dies in season 3. So it starts there. And it sort of follows the events of canon pretty closely until, I don't know, season 7 or 8. And it's really just Alex and Castiel falling in love. That's pretty much the whole story, but just retelling canon.
Yeah.
The way she does it is interesting, though, because the way that the author has her character Alex falling in love with Castiel, but Castiel's still doing all of the remarkably stupid shit that he does in like the later seasons. And I'm like, how? But yeah, I like that.
Yeah. No, I was, like I said, I'm always interested in like whether it's reader insert or OC, and how because to me I do think it's like it's a special want to kind of put them into canon and make it still work. Like I just find it's almost like being a little detective in a way. Like, how am I taking this scene or taking this event, still putting the character in and around it, and still maybe having an effect on what's happening, but you don't necessarily it could have happened in the show. You just don't see that part. It's like an outtake, right? Like that kind of a situation. So I really do enjoy that about your story, and I'm interested in how it's going to continue to go. So you're not okay. Do you also speed write?
I do.
Okay.
I write very quickly. The thing so at the moment, I've had a couple of people actually comment on the story, and they're like, "Have you abandoned this?" And I'm like, no, I haven't. Just like I wrote all. See, my mouth got away from me. So in October, when I started writing fanfic, and probably about last month, I wrote 100,000 words.
Wow. Okay.
In the last month.
No, from October till now, I've probably written about 150,000. I used to write for a living, right?
Right.
And I still write for a living, kind of. So I'm really good at writing.
Mm-hmm.
So like my business partner, we're in the process of launching a publishing house. And we also help other authors with their stories. So we edit and we do all of these things. I'm intimately familiar with writing and that kind of thing. So I write really fast. It's just, so these people have commented, they're like, "Have you abandoned the story?" And I'm like, no, my life is just really busy and I don't actually have any time to write at the moment.
Oh, we feel that.
Yeah,
100%.
We feel that. Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. That's great though. It's a great endeavor that you're getting involved with that as well. That says a lot. You got a lot going on. There. So are you might have said it and I missed it. How far are you still around season 4 in the writing part of it? But you said you've got it sort of planned out up to season 10.
Yeah. So currently I'm going episode for episode per chapter, which stupid. Why did I decide to do this?
Again, undertaking.
Yeah, so currently I'm on episode 4 of season 4.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I'm like, wow, this was stupid.
So I'm not far behind anyway. I think I was only on episode 3 of season 4. Yeah, that I'm in. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So basically just the point now, the chapter that I just uploaded end of January is where Dean goes back in time. And it's like Reed's first sort of like real interaction with Castiel. And I'm just like, wow, you're an asshole. I love you.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't wait to see how this goes. Like I said, and also, yeah, your chapters are, because when I get started on my Kindle, it's almost like their episode length. So it's like of course, this is my reading speed, but my reading speed usually says I've got about 40 minutes, of reading. So I'm like, okay, it's an episode.
It was one chapter, which I was trying to, so the first couple of chapters, I was really trying to get through the first 3 seasons because I was like, at home, there were certain things that I had to show from the outside.
Right.
But it was mostly just Reed's at home with Bobby doing research and stuff. And so that's kind of boring. But there was one chapter where I think I did season 3 in 2 chapters, but there was lots of events that I had to show. And those chapters ended up being like 20,000 words each. Like, don't ever do this again. No one wants to read a chapter that long. So I try to keep them generally like under 8,000 words.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, it would take me about an hour. To read. That's great though. In terms of like, you said you found like engaged audiences for your writing. Where in particular have you noticed that? Is it more AO3? Is it more Tumblr? Is it a mixture of both? Where have you noticed?
It's sort of a mixture of both. For this one story, for Celestial Requiem, I actually posted about it on Tumblr before I started writing it, and I was like, I'm kind of scared, and I really need someone to hold my hand, because back in the day when I was in the Twilight fandom, fandom was like so much closer and like more engaged on a personal level. Because, you used to have like groups where you chat on GChat and everyone was just there was a lot more interaction and beta reading and alpha readers and all of that kind of thing. And I noticed that wasn't really happening as much. So I posted on Tumblr and I was like, I have this plan and I want to do this story and I would really like someone to hold my hand. And I got a few people actually that reached out to me and said, yeah, they'll chat to me about it. They'll hold my hand, whatever. And I joined a couple of Discords.
We've noticed that we've talked to a couple different authors too who've like been in the fandom for like kind of decades. And it's definitely a thing where the sense of community is much more fractured now.
Yeah.
And, we try to figure out those reasons why, but it's almost like different silos, of even just, or interest, right? Like, some people are kind of just there to read. Some people, if you need a beta reader, like those seem like those are like the gems that you just have to like really like dig for, because that's a lot. It's a lot to ask, of a buddy. Like, I need you to beta this. So you have to form those really close connections with people to have that encouragement to sustain you. And you have to have people that are willing to, read and comment and give you that little bit of fuel, for that. So that's important. That's important in fandom, because we can write just to write for ourselves, which I think ultimately we probably all do to start. But I don't think, we're not posting these things just because we just want to, keep them in a vacuum,
It is important to write for yourself and not write for an audience per se, but I think everybody needs that sense of community, don't you? You need people around you to hold your hand and, cheer you on, and yeah.
But I mean, I feel quite lucky because I have made some really, really close friends sort of because of that post where I was like, I need someone to hold my hand. And I had two people reach out to me and say that they're willing to do that. And we've been talking since October, and we talk every single day. Not just about, they're also writers. So yeah, we talk every single day, and they're very supportive, sort of cheerleadery. And on the Discord that I started, we sort of do a lot of cheerleading for other people's writing. So we've got like hype required and like writing help. And there's just a lot of cheerleading happening because I really wanted that space again, like I used to have when I was in Twilight, when people were just chatting all the time and people were like hyping you up. And I felt like that was missing a bit on Tumblr. And even on AO3, like people will read the story and they'll like leave a kudos, but it's very rare for people to comment, which again is strange because when I was writing on FanFic, like in 2012, get like loads of comments all the time. And it's just,
I think there's a shift. There's a shift in terms of how it's, but again, too, like AO3 is more of like a library and an archive too. So I don't think people, it's harder to like the comments are great. And when you get into stuff, but it kind of like, it doesn't lend itself to communication, as great either on the AO3 end of it, I think, because Kasey and I have talked about that too. Its whole purpose, it kind of has that little bit of a barrier. Like you really have to like message back and forth like 5 or 6 times, like, oh, here, by the way, this is where you can find me if you want to talk a little bit more, Thank God we did that, Kasey.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's like, I think if that community engagement is something we have to sacrifice to keep AO3 the way it is, I'm okay with it. Because
it's good to have those other sources like Tumblr and then like people that are able to like do the Discord thing and say, hey, or by the way, a lot of it is just getting your information out there too. Like you have to be a little bit of an investigator. Like if you find somebody you like I go to their profile. I'm like, okay, where can I find them? Like, because hopefully they've said, you can find me here on Tumblr. You can find, like those kinds of things. Like, it's almost like we have to be proactive as a writer or anybody that's putting their stuff out there for other people. Like, if you want engagement, make sure they can find you somewhere, because people will look. I'm one of those people. If I find a writer I really like on AO3 and I see they have a bunch of stuff, I'm like, where are they? Like, are they somewhere else in social media that if I want to follow them, I'll keep up to date on stuff that way too. So yeah, it's a bit of like a treasure map, I think.
Yeah, I think as a writer, if you are writing something, you have to be proactive about sharing it as well. I work in marketing, so I'm like, you can't just create something and then just hope people are going to stumble across it. Like you have to be quite proactive about sharing it, which is why I shared my story in the Discord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like I share chapters on Tumblr, and I post everywhere because I'm like, please come and read my stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For the writing, are there certain fanfic tropes that you kind of feel like you gravitate towards when you write?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I gravitate towards when I write. I sort of go into a fugue state when I write, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I start typing and then all of a sudden there's words there.
That's so interesting.
That would be nice.
I mean, do you enjoy having that sort of like, I mean, I don't want to call it a superpower, but do you like, is that just like one of those things where like, so you'll write and then you'll just like, you'll get into a mindset and then like, are you waking up and realizing you've written like 5,000 words? Like, what's that process like for you?
So I will sit down with it when I decide to write a new story. I will sit down and I'll sort of plot out very roughly what I want to happen from start to finish, like super broad strokes. I'll be like, point A to point Z, how will we get there broadly? And then I'll go per chapter and I'll sit and I'll just sit in a chair and I'll just think about it for like hours. I'll just sit and I'll go, how is this going to happen? And then I sort of sketch out some dialogue, because dialogue is a big thing for me. So I will literally sit, and it's why I'll mull over a chapter for like weeks before I write it, because I want to know exactly what's going to happen. So I'll sit and I'll think about it and I'll make notes by hand, because I'm one of those people. And I'll make notes by hand and I'll have the entire plan of what I want to happen in my head before I ever start writing. So that when I sit down and I start writing, it's sort of just like the words just pour out of me and I don't have to sit and think. And also I'm one of those people, because I started writing young and I help other authors, I don't edit as I write. I just get it all out of me. I'm like, it's fine. Whatever, if the sentence doesn't make sense, if I've like repeated the same idea 3 times, if I've used a word 5 times in a sentence, it's fine. I keep writing. I don't stop. And then the writing is quick because I can knock out like 5,000 words in under a day. It's the editing that takes a long time, because then I'll sit for like 3 weeks to edit a chapter.
Yeah. Do you also like, because these chapters are so heavy, like they're related to episodes, do you watch the episodes or have the episodes playing in the background while you're writing or researching?
I read the transcripts.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will always have the transcripts open, so that I can get a feel for the dialogue. And then if there's something where I'm not sure from reading the transcript like what the tone was, then I'll go and I'll watch that specific snippet of the episode. So in Celestial Requiem, where she meets Cass for the first time, I watched the barn scene because I was like, and the scene with Pamela, I watched that. So I'll do that just to sort of gauge what the visual tone is. But for the most part, I just use the transcripts.
Oh, that's very interesting. I love hearing about people's writing process. I just think that's great. To get a sense of because everybody does it different, right? Yeah. Like it sounds like there's so much prep on your part, and then it's like, let's just go and see what all that preparation has done, when I actually sit down to write, kind of a thing. So you're giving yourself all of that necessary material, then write, and then the edit part of it. Do you ever feel fully satisfied with whatever you put out that's fan fiction? No. Okay. Okay. Do you ever go back and change things?
No.
Okay.
So when I was in school, my art teacher told me never erase anything. So I was like, fine. And then I internalized that. I was like, I put this out there. This is the way people have read it. Am I fully happy? No, but I'm not going to go back and change it. So I'm kind of like, if I'm not happy, the reason I post chapters before I'm happy with them, because I know that I'll never be fully satisfied, but I also know that I will not be able to move on to the next one because I'll just keep polishing the same chapter forever. So I'll get really irritated with myself and I'll be like, fuck it, just post it. And then I'll go back and I'll be like, there's a spelling mistake.
Well, that's called it's finished when I hate it. That's right. That's it. I can't fucking stand to look at this anymore. I'm done with it. It's done. Whatever.
Yeah. That's kind of what I've done. I'm just like, this latest chapter of Celestial Requiem, I was like, I can't look at this anymore. I'm just gonna post it.
Yeah.
You get too close to it, don't you? You can't be impartial about it. And you've read it over like enough times that you're just like, do you know what? It just fucking sucks. I detest it. I don't know why I ever thought I could write this. Is horrific.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of always, and I mean, Kasey knows this too, but like, especially with fanfic, I really do try I never really feel like it's complete, but I leave it alone. It's kind of like, I let the draft out and I let the draft go to, I just post and it's like, could it be better? Could I have done something else? Maybe did I think of something later on? Yeah, but it's out there. It's done. Here's what other people get to kind of experience, from my brain. And sometimes, I should have, why didn't I think of putting this in? But it's out there. It's out there and it's done. But I think that's very forgiving with fanfic anyway. Like, it feels so, it is so weird how, because we've had many conversations with different people about how, like, reader engagement and like reader commenting kind of like gets your ideas going, or like maybe something else occurs. Do you feel like do you get the kind of comments or engagement that kind of makes you think to maybe add something in a future chapter that maybe you didn't come up with? Or how do you approach comments?
Weirdly, not with Celestial Requiem.
Okay.
People are kind of just like, this is great. And I'm like, thank you. I appreciate you. But on my other story, I had a couple of people comment, and that story was like originally supposed to be one chapter. It was supposed to just be a one shot, which spiraled so very out of control.
It was just supposed to be porn.
So I had 3 comments on that story that were like, oh, is this going to happen? And I was like, that wasn't the plan, but it's going to happen now. And so I eventually finished that story the way that I originally envisioned it. It was supposed to be one chapter. It was just supposed to be a one shot. It was supposed to just be smut. And it spiraled so out of control. Now that it's finished, it's, I think, 35,000 words, 5 chapters.
Wow.
And it's got 3 alternate endings.
Oh, you did the alternate ending thing. That's cute.
I love doing that. I'm a firm believer that like you should never feel boxed in just because you've posted something. Smash your toys together, you know what I mean? Like, you're writing for yourself. So yeah, so that story, What Darkness Takes, has got 3 alternate endings. None of them have been posted. I've written them for myself. Because most of them are sort of very Lucifer focused, and Lucifer doesn't have a big fandom. So I've written mostly for myself.
That's awesome though, yeah.
The one alternate ending, which I work on every day because I'm in love with it, is currently sitting at, I think, 70 or 80,000 words of just nonsense that's just sitting on my laptop, and I work on it every day, and I'm like, I love this. It's my comfort space.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think that's what writing for all of us, I think, in a weird way sometimes, is just about. It's about comfort. How, and it can be all sorts of different ways. It can be fixing things. It can be really digging in to the places that hurt to then find the comfort, or just escaping. I find that enjoyable when I write. Yeah. So is most of your writing OC, and are you thinking if it is there another type of like pair or ship you might like to try to write in the future?
So all of my stuff is OC because
Mhm.
I like Castiel. I do. It's just something that I can see in the show, but I'm just not particularly interested in reading.
Right.
I did write one, which was like a reader insert, Castiel polyamory love triangle, not a love triangle, it was a polyamory thing. I
Okay.
wrote that like a Secret Santa, and that was
Okay.
fun.
But it's
But-
not your like passion to like try to like
Yeah.
right
So-
now. It could change in another year. We could come back to you and be like, hey, you know, originally it was Dean, now you're on the Lucifer train, so it could go anyway.
Yeah. So at the moment, I've got two unpublished store. One is like an alternate ending to an existing story, and the other one is like an original story, and they're both Lucifer OFC.
Okay. That's so
Yeah.
interesting. That's so interesting. Oh,
So
wow.
the one I'm like, I will force Lucifer to be a good father if it kills.
Yeah,
Right?
I was just about to ask when you're coming at like a Lucifer OFC, are you coming at it like I can fix him, that I can fix him, or are you coming at it like he's unrepentant and he's gonna get a murder wife? Yeah, I would
So-
read both, by the way.
So the one, actually, it's funny that you say that because I've done both. So the one that I'm writing is like, if Jack had a mom, like not his actual mother, but like if he stumbled away from Team Free Will and he stumbled into like a normal woman and she was like, I'll adopt you. And then Lucifer was like, damn, now I've got to get through this like tiny human woman. And he has to just learn how to behave because his oddly powerful Nephilim son is like, this is my mother. And he's like, fuck. That's the one that I'm writing where I'm like, I will redeem Lucifer and he will be a good father if I have to drag him there kicking and screaming. And the other one is, you know, murder wife.
So everything that Ryan from The Boys could and should have been, but got lured in by fucking PlayStation and pizza.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that so much. I also I've got this, it's a Family Guy thing about like straight to video Disney movies, like Aladdin 4, Jafar needs new glasses, and my brain went, Lucifer cashes in, Lucifer writes child support checks, Lucifer attends the PTA meetings. I want to read the shelf, seriously. Just absolute, like, you know, the light bringer, the king of hell, just sitting in one of those little desks talking
Like a
about
PTA
school
meeting.
lunches.
Yeah, having to go in for like a parent-teacher conference. That'd be great. Yeah, absolutely.
He does have to go and feed ducks with his son because I'm like, Jack will be happy. I don't care what I have to do to make him happy, but he's going to be happy. So there's Lucifer with his tiny little human wife, who's not actually his wife, and Jack feeding the ducks because I'm like, fuck it, they will be happy and he will be a good father.
Did you put Jack back into like an age appropriate body? Is he like
No.
toddler?
No, I didn't. I was like literally, so you know, in the first episode that Jack appears, they try to kill him. So I'm like, what if just after that he'd stumbled into a random woman and she was like, oh no, this person seems like they've escaped from a cult. And then we sort of like,
Oh,
yeah. So like that same night, like when he's just been born, stumbles onto this like woman and she's like, oh dear, this 19-year-old child doesn't know what a car is. And then just sort of like tries to look after him and then just ends up adopting him. But he's still Jack. He's still 19. She's like 27 and she's like, oh dear, how did I end up with a teenager? And then,
oh my god, I love that so much.
and then Lucifer like appears. She works at a diner, and then Lucifer appears, and he's like, "Oh, thanks for looking after my son." And Jack's like, "No, this is my mom." And Lucifer's like, "Can't do anything. My son is super powerful, so I guess I'll just keep coming into this diner every day to sit here and talk to my son about animal documentaries."
That's the best.
Oh my gosh.
Is that on AO3 or is it still a Whips?
No, but I am going to be posting it hopefully like in the next couple of weeks because most of it is written. It's just it's now in that stage where I'm like obsessively polishing it, but
You want to give it out. It sounds like you want to give it out to people now soon, right? Like to have them, yeah.
I love it so much. It's so much fun. I'm also doing like a multiple POV thing because all three of them So it's Lucifer, Jack, and then the woman Eva.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have like wildly different of the same interaction, because Lucifer is like being all charming, because he's outwardly charming, but he's
Charming
secretly narcissistic and sadistic. So he's like being outwardly charming to her, and she's like, tra la 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 la, my teenage son's father, and he's like, I'm gonna rip your spine out to your teeth. And just the juxtaposition of that is just hilarious to me, and I'm like, I need to post it. I need to get it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Make sure that you post that in our Discord. I need this in my life. Just fucking Mark P. Lucifer just on a little tiny desk with his eyes getting redder and redder and redder. He's like, I don't need to fucking be here.
Oh my gosh.
Mash cut to him imagining exploding the teacher's head, and then come back to him just like gripping the desk. Oh my god, I need that.
Oh my goodness.
I need murder wives as well, but that's interesting to me in a different way. Lucifer being a normal dad is funny. Murder wives are just
again. I have him with a murder wife who is also a Winchester, and that's really funny. Yeah,
definitely.
That's the alternate ending to What Darkness Takes.
Okay.
So she's the eldest Winchester, and Amara sucks her soul out, so she becomes soulless, and then she ends up fucking Castiel.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, and then she ends up in a relationship with Lucifer, and I'm like, yes, this would happen.
So you mentioned like the song remains the same as one of your like favorite fics. Who are some of your favorite fanfic authors that you've read?
I don't really have many favorite fanfic authors. Dreamy Team Free Will writes. I think that she would be my favorite.
Okay.
Because she's written like a couple of like Meg Stiel and Sam Stiels, which I really enjoy. For the most part, I kind of just sort of skip through AO3, and I'm like, is there any Lucifer stories?
Okay. Gotcha.
So I'm more like a story person than an author person, I think.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Kasey, do you want to ask your questions?
What's my questions?
Your questions.
Questions time. Okay, so you don't have to answer this one. You don't have to like out yourself or dox yourself or anything else. We just find it. I'm just really interested in it. Where did you come up with your username?
I like wordplay, and I like, because I am a writer. I like having a vocabulary, and I love the word eldritch. And my Tumblr is escapism through smut.
Yep.
And so I love the idea of eldritch horror, but I also love being a gigantic whore. So I was like, how can I write these things?
And combinations. I love it.
Yeah. So I was like eldritch, and then I was like, can I say slut? And then I was like, I can't say slut. I was like, what's a good word for slut that isn't slut? And then I came up with libertine. And it's sort of like horrors beyond comprehension, but also a whore.
Horrors beyond comprehension, but also everybody do fucking. Everybody
basically.
Lovecraft would be proud. I'm pretty sure like orgies and shit were like part of some of the things he wrote. Yeah, Lovecraft would appreciate that. I love that. That's awesome. Oh, okay, cool. All right, this is my last question, and it has absolutely nothing to do with supernatural fanfic writing. Oh, big stretch. Sorry, the cat did an enormous big stretch, and I'm oh my gosh, big stretch. Contractually obligated to acknowledge it. Yep. This one has nothing to do with supernatural or fan fiction or writing or anything that we've discussed. But adults don't ask other adults this question enough, and I'm on a one mortal mission to change that. So, Kay, what is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, that was a dumb question to ask me. I really
like dinosaur rant prepared. I'm listening.
So my husband and I play this game called Ark Survival Evolved.
Yes,
Survival Ascended. So yeah, we play a lot of Ark. I'm talking like 4,000 hours. My favorite dinosaur isn't a dinosaur. It is sort of dinosaur adjacent. I really love early crocodilians. So there was a type of crocodile back in the day that had hooves and could gallop. So I'm really obsessed with all of the early crocodilians because the way that the sort of evolution happened with them is just wild to me, because there was one lake, right, that had 3 different types of crocodile living in it. One hunted only in the water, one hunted only on the land, and that was the one that had hooves and could gallop, and then one that did both. And it was like a relatively small lake that housed like all these 3 different types of crocodiles. And I was like, that's fascinating.
That's so fucking cool.
I also really like Spinosaurus.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the way that they discovered him was really cool. And his whole body, and how they're still trying to figure out how that stupid dinosaur works with his weird tail thing.
I have a follow-up question to the crocodile.
Yeah.
The hoofy gallopy one. Did it still have like to be a crocodile, it must have had the outwardy, like sideways legs of a crocodile, but then it just fucking galloped?
Yeah, it had hooves, bro. It like literally had like legs like not quite as long as a horse. So it had sort of legs similar length to a dog without that sort of outward facing knee like a modern crocodile have. It was like, imagine if a horse and a dog, not a horse, a crocodile and a dog smushed together.
I'm gonna have to.
Terrifying.
That's fucking fascinating, and also genuinely terrifying. I am so glad evolution stopped that shit, because can you imagine? Bloody hell!
I'm wondering why it didn't survive.
Crocodiles can sprint though. Like crocodiles move really like lightning.
They do, yeah. It probably didn't survive for the self-same reason that horses technically shouldn't have survived. The leg structure is not conducive to life.
Yeah, horses are dumb.
Yeah, they're just not. My favorite thing about horses is it's a Tumblr thing about how horses do the fast with just grass, and how most other animals need to use like a more refined type of grass, like meat or whatever, but horses just eat grass and the fast happens. And I do really like that. But from like a skeletal point of view, fucking terrible design. Absolutely terrible. Just no idea how that was the design that made it to modern horses, because it's fucking awful. Oh
yeah, horses shouldn't. If you're a creature that can't lay down for too long because your organs will like crush themselves under your own weight, you just shouldn't survive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like they're so bad at life. Just
bad at life.
Well, maybe that's why they need so many humans to take care of them. A lot of times. They do be out there like living and stuff. I read the other day, fucking animal tangent now, you've done it now, okay. I read the other day like I am going to rein you in a little bit though, because we are on a schedule.
one of the biggest like perpetrators, one of the biggest like causes of horse theft in areas where there are wild horses around farmed horses is wild fucking horses. Stallions get kicked out of the herd and they're going to make their own herd, and they're like, oh, look at all those nice mares over there. I'll just lead them over the fucking fence, and they just fuck off with the fucking fenced horses. And they're like, my mares now, bitches. And I mean,
oh, that's too funny.
I just don't know if, as a person who keeps horses, in that situation, if anyone out there like has a horse farm or something, in this situation, do you go, yes, they belong to the stallion now, or do you go track them down and be like, these are my fucking horses, piss off? Like, what is like? I have questions. I need to know the answer to this, because I just can't see myself facing down a stallion for his bitches. I'd be like, well, they're not my horses anymore. They're your horses now. So please enjoy your bitches.
Kay, this has been lovely, and we've actually made it through with the episode. Look at that! Yay, we got through
your
it.
Power, well, your laptop and your Wi-Fi,
laptop held
Wi-Fi,
on.
but everything held
Yeah.
on.
Everything held
Like,
on.
Weirdly, I'm actually kind of surprised. This was so much fun. Thank you, and thank you for your dinosaur question.
Yeah.
No, you're so welcome. Thank you for the information about the hoofed crocodiles, because they are terrifying and I hate it. Oh my god.
Before we
So-
go ahead.
Caprasuchus is one of them that had the weirdly long legs, just by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're
Caprasuchus.
so
Okay.
fucking they are. It's like somebody took the body of a crocodile and then just
Put
popped
some
it on
horse
dog
legs.
legs. Yeah, just popped it on. Like it's
Yeah.
like longer. The picture that I'm looking at now, which is just a drawing, it's like longer in the back than it is in the front. So it's kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know, like
Gotcha.
that kind of dinosaur that could be bipedal, but also sometimes
Mhm.
put its feet. Like it's just a bit wonky. But that's fucking. Can you imagine just being like, if you were a prehistoric man and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go down to the river for a wash or a fish or whatever, and then fucking that comes at you. Christ. That's
Yeah.
terrifying.
Before we let you go, I did want to ask like one of our wrap-up questions that we like to ask our writers that come on is, if you had any words of wisdom to pass on to anybody who's having trouble writing, maybe just getting started, maybe is like thinking about like, I've kind of been watching the show for a while, I'm writing some stuff, but maybe I'm hesitant about putting it out there. What like writing words of wisdom? I mean, you gave us so many like great one-liners for titles that I've got my pick, but like what would you give as like your words of wisdom to any writers out there?
I have many actually. just write.
Mhm.
Don't self-edit. Don't, just get the words out there first and worry about editing later.
Mhm.
Don't feel concerned if your writing style is not the same as what you see, because your voice is always going to be original. Don't worry if the story that you want to tell is not something that you've seen other people doing, because the story that you want to tell needs to exist. It's your
Mhm.
story.
Mhm.
So don't worry, get out of your own head. You are always going to be your harshest critic.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's just a couple
Love that.
That's great. That's great. This has been lovely. I am so glad that we connected and that I picked up your Cast OFC and doing the things. I can't wait to see the rest of it when as it comes out.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
glad.
you, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. And it is an open invite to come back anytime. So if when you're done with your fic, you want to come back and be like, oh my god, it's finally finished. Like, we would welcome that with open arms. It's an open invitation to come back and chat to us. Thank you so much.
Well, this has been lovely. I hope good luck with the power. Hope the power comes back on soon.
Hope it's
But
back
yes,
on soon. Yeah.
make sure you like pop in occasionally on Discord, just like say hey and
Say
hello,
hi.
and I will keep you updated as to how things are going with the edits and stuff and like releases and all that good stuff. And then you let me know which part of the story you might like me to narrate.
I will do. Thank you so much and enjoy your live stream.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yo, we would love to see you in chat if you can, but obviously without your power, we understand.
Good luck. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of the day.
Have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Aw, that was nice.
Good.
But I was just very interested in, and so much like writing background too.
Yeah.
That's
The
great.
the amount of words that she can knock out is insane.
Insane and impressive. And yeah, I mean, I think just again, like the Gabriel part of it, I just think you'd really find interesting and stuff. But it's just so great having somebody new, relatively new, yes, to at least the fandom aspect of it, not to Supernatural itself, and her experience with the fandom, and that it's been positive, which is lovely. And
We love to hear
finding
that, don't we?
yeah, we do. We love to hear that. So I hope that continues. And yes, I can't wait to finish reading Celestial Requiem. But yeah, did you have any final thoughts?
Just that it was so often we focus on Sam and Dean, so it was just,
Mhm.
it's always really lovely when we get to talk to someone who whose blorbo is somebody different, and
it's so different than what I originally expected. Because again, like it sounds like Kay's journey with supernatural changes depending every time.
Yeah,
she watches. So to go from like Dean to then Cass to now Lucifer, Gabriel somewhere in there as well, and just like how like how you fixate or find something new. Or at least some people do. My hyperfixation is Dean Winchester, so I can't seem to get out of that no matter what. But seeing how other people fixate on different aspects and characters and how that changes. And she had so many great lines. I mean, mash your toys together, I thought was a really great line.
I love that one.
That wasn't the plan. I thought was another really good one. And I love you, you're so dumb. So I think
you're so broken, I love you.
You're so broken, I love you.
And I think
that's us, right? Like, I think that's just everybody in general, I think, with the show. Like, I really think no matter what, you're so broken. I love you.
Yeah, I love you.
I had fun. So we need to wrap up, though, because we have something else planned. But, we want to thank Kay for coming on. I know for us, it's different to have someone who's really, like, OFC focused and then cast focused. So we just appreciate that she came on to chat with us and had a really great discussion about supernatural and writing and fandom community in general. So we want to know what you thought of the episode. So make sure you email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com, or you can comment on Spotify in the Q&A section. You can leave a YouTube comment, join our Discord, and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. Check out our merch store, which is another fun way to show your support. You can find details for everything on our website, idlingintheimpala.com. Want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider joining us on Ko-fi for as little as $1 a month. We have perks to go along with different membership tiers and would love to have you along for the ride.
Speaking of perks, we've got special shout-outs for some of our Ko-fi members. From our Shotgun Picks and Music tier, we've got Runaway Dreamer, Crowley's Mistress, Sam and Dean 76, and Elia. From our own Mrs. Butters tier, we've got Charlie. Thanks for picking the tunes in the car and keeping the lights on in the bunker. Support like yours keeps our podcast going. Thanks. Don't forget, you can support us for free by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, sharing on audio platforms. Engagement like that really helps us with the algorithms. All hail their benevolence. As always, we have the causes we support in the description. From me, you have LGBTQ plus talking charities. From Sandra, you have mental health charities. And of course, the main causes that we are highlighting, championing, spotlighting are World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. If you want to know more about these causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlingintheimpala.com. There's a page there called Causes with all the details. So with that, we will say thank you to Kay for joining us. Thank you for joining us in the back seat, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.